Hey, my friends, BenJoe here. Once again, excited to be talking to all of you and sharing some of my thoughts as we've gone through February. I've had an opportunity now to visit a number of our sites internationally and both in the United States. And as I've been talking with our leaders, we've been talking about something that I think is super important. And it's this concept of not allowing ourselves to get too comfortable. And that we live in a world now where people seem to be convinced that they need to be comfortable all the time. One of my favorite things to say at Focus is that we always critique our success, that when we have wins, when we have great processes, we dive in and we find ways to improve it. And more that we push people to critique that success and to be uncomfortable, I find sometimes we get a push back saying, don't make me do something that's hard. Now, I remember when I was a kid, I was 13 or 14 years old, and I wanted to do something that was extremely hard. My friends around me were all getting girlfriends, and I was kind of a nerd. I was kind of a loser, and I was a geek. Surprise, right? And I wanted a girlfriend, but I didn't really know how to talk to girls, and I didn't even understand the process of that you would have to go through to even ask a girl out. I just knew that my friends had a girlfriend, so I knew a girl kind of by name who was I felt like it was kind of a nerd like me. And so I scrounged up 25 cents and I had to ride my bike 2 miles down to the local 7-Eleven to make a private phone call at a payphone because we only had one phone in our house. And without even really knowing this girl, besides her name, I called her up. I looked her phone number up in the phone book and I asked her to be my girlfriend. And as you can expect, she didn't really have any idea who I was, and she told me no. And this process was very hard and it was very uncomfortable. Not only the process of finding the 25 cents and riding my bike 2 miles there and 2 miles back and looking up her number and rehearsing the sales pitch, but just the putting myself in that uncomfortable, terrifying question. But I'll tell you, I've gone back to that situation for decades as a turning point in how I pushed myself to do something uncomfortable. I pushed myself to go out there and make a decision and ask for something that really, in hindsight was stupid, but embarrassing. But it forced me to grow as a human being. There's a fantastic book out right now called The Comfort Crisis. It's by Michael Easter, and it's an amazing book that discusses this concept of being uncomfortable. And I see our agents and our coaches and our directors and even the people in our shared services, they're all working on these processes and they're all working on these things to make our company better. And we have to continue to push harder to be the best, but that's going to require us to be uncomfortable. And Michael Easter in his book, he talks about this idea that we were born to be uncomfortable, that our ancestors were uncomfortable. They were constantly in this state of uncomfortable, sleeping on the ground, hunting for food, being chased by predators. And the benefits of that improved their lives, that helped them to survive as a species to get to this point that we live now, because they were forced to have to be in a world of being uncomfortable. Many people will tell you that they know me as a tech guy. And I love technology, and I love how technology makes my life easier. I have technology. I don't even worry about my thermostat. It's so controlled and managed and organized because I want it to be comfortable in my house. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with being analog a little bit. There's nothing wrong with being in an uncomfortable situation by setting goals that push us to be uncomfortable, that makes our lives a little harder. The modern day comforts that are supposed to make our lives easier in many ways are making us unhealthy. They're making us that we don't want to be challenged. They're making us that we don't want to go for the best things in life. It makes it so we don't want to be harder. I wonder if my 13, 14-year-old me today would have ridden his bike down to 7-Eleven and made that call. Because it would have been so much easier just to hide behind a text message. Hide behind WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger or Instagram DMs. Our society was born to be uncomfortable. but we've allowed the technology of this world and the modern day comforts of this world to make it too easy. It's robbed our ability to reap the health, the intellectual, the emotional, heck, even the spiritual benefits that come from being challenged and being uncomfortable. We've created a society where you can't tell someone they're wrong, that they failed, that they made a mistake, because we're scared that we're going to put them in a tailspin of discomfort and frustration. I know, because I'm a parent and I'm scared sometimes to push my kids to be uncomfortable. But we have to reconnect with the idea of being uncomfortable. And that's why we set goals as a company. We set goals with you as an employee. We drive you to be better, because we know that if you're a little bit uncomfortable, that you're challenged, you will continue to grow as an individual. Our values are innovation, development, faith, and fun. But how could we possibly ever expect to innovate and develop if we don't push ourselves to be uncomfortable? We have to have faith that when we are just a little bit uncomfortable, that it's going to lead to something great, something fun. Thank you guys for an amazing February. Thanks for all the hard work you did. Thanks for allowing us to challenge you to be uncomfortable. And here's to March. Let's see what we can do, what we can push, what we can get by being a little uncomfortable. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.